Shocked by lack of socialist, Marxist talk. Joined this sub a while ago and I'm honestly surprised by how little communist, Marxist, socialist ideas are discussed here despite the flagrant dystopian nature of some of the testimonies. I understand people mainly come here to let off steam and look for advice on delicate workplace situations. But his place should also be riddled with folks talking about building alternatives to late capitalism, or whatever you want to call it. The problem behind all of this nonsense: we have nothing to lose but our chains. There's recently been a not insignificant amount of right-wing talk in here. This sub started drifting right after it started to gain popularity, and by the time it got on the news, radical voices were completely drowned out by liberals co-opting leftist language. Liberals in the US are far more conservative than they think they are. For the most part, they are capitalists with rainbows who are only interested in superficial change and performative language and gestures. They reject the true left where socialist ideas find roots. They just want to assuage their guilt as capitalist sellouts. This place used to be an anarchist sub, or was at least operated by anarchists. Shit just got more liberal over time and nobody cared to address it. Well, if you're in the USA like I am, this kind of awareness is what we are dealing with, unfortunately. I hear you. It's because this sub has nearly 3M users and a majority of them are pro-capitalists. Organize, my friend. Each one teach one. A better world is possible. A message from your friendly neighborhood communist. As it turns out, there are a lot more people who are generally supportive of socialism-adjacent ideals but primarily interested in living peaceful lives than there are people willing to risk their lives committing to violent revolution in the name of the proletariat. Because most here are Americans still too red scared of the word communism. It's US-centric, so they still think that socialism is their root of all evil. Marxism is the devil incarnate. They don't want nobody to be poor. They just want themselves to be really rich as well. Absolutely. Solid amount of anarcho-syndicalism here at least. But yeah, like, gosh, haven't heard means of production here once yet in many months of activity here. I've noticed an alarming number of bootlickers here. Always shame and downvote bootlickers. Yeah, I see a lot of bootlickers in the comments. As I recall, there was good talk of theory, praxis when I first came across the sub. What I remember most are Western socialist, anarchist perspectives on the lay-flat movement and being quite literally anti-work. The mod that went on TV was coming from that. Being literally against the capitalist notion of work and dropping out of the system as best we could. The months leading up to that interview, it seemed to me the sub exploded from the "my boss sucks so I applied elsewhere and now I make more money with better working conditions" quote. Those posts drew in crowds with the high drama that makes big subs like IATA or malicious compliance popular. However, they also play into the narrative of employment being a market where employers have to compete for employees, which drew in even more right-wing and neoliberal Redditors by unintentionally and then intentionally appealing to their ideology. There's a lot of what you're looking for here right under the surface. The old guard is still very much here. But over the past 2 years there's been a huge surge in users who are still, shall we say, awakening to a more leftist way of thought as the top skims ever more and more value from their already undervalued labors. How long was a while ago? 'Cause it was a very different space before it basically got hijacked, and now we have multiple Different groups of people here that talk over one another. DX. Baby steps. Seems to be the thing around here. Hopefully they will get there in time. I wish we could just stop participating in capitalism. I am extremely passionate about making progressive change but have grown so pessimistic about our ability to change anything with our current political system. Workers of the world unite. It's the sad state of financial ruin. Attempting to confront the very real threat of our own insignificance in the eyes of the bourgeois class is much more difficult, mentally and emotionally, than it is to lazily point fingers at the disadvantaged. When we feel weak, it's easy to isolate ourselves socially. Tell yourself you're the best worker. That if everyone lived exactly like you, the economy would be so much better. This is also a narrative that protects the bourgeois class. And it's this narrative they sell through many of their news outlets. The simple fact is, we need to work harder than they do to spread the word. It will always be harder to explain economics than it is to inspire hatred.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.